Hi everyone, we're about to get started. I'm just giving you the quick tour. This is our friends over here registering folks. We have some snacks. You'll be seeing great art today, documenting some of the great ideas that will be coming from this event. Here's our agenda for today's event. Thank you all for joining. We'll be huddling around soon. People were still networking. If you follow us on social media, don't forget to use our hashtag CA Water Data Challenge.
Are there other areas that are there other providers?
So that's it.
Pull that back.
Hello? Hello?
All right, if everyone could take their seats and we will try, oh, you know what it is? It's the columns. We're having microphone issues.
Let's try this. Can you hear us now? Excellent. Well, so we've got a half battery microphone here, so I guess the panel might be really brief for whoever's holding that one. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Hope you had a nice breakfast. We are here together for the launch of the California Safe Drinking Water Data Challenge. This has been a long time coming, lots of planning. We're excited to welcome you here. My name is Meredith Lee. I'm the Executive Director of the West Big Data Innovation Hub. I'm based just across the bay at UC Berkeley. For folks who aren't familiar with the Hub, we are a new venture launched by the National Science Foundation to build and strengthen public-private partnerships around data science for social impact. And we can think of no better challenge than California's safe drinking water issues to tackle here today. We really want to thank you for being here, whether you're here in person or via live stream. Shout out to Angie, who is doing a budget live stream on her phone. We're scrappy. As you may have guessed from the agenda, today's event is not your typical hackathon type of competition. I like to say it's not your mother or grandmother's hackathon. It's really one point in what we hope will be a very productive, creative, and meaningful summer-long endeavor. So in case you didn't read the memo, this is going on all summer and lots of opportunities to engage. So speaking to someone earlier this morning, and they were asking, so what is this all about? What is a data challenge? We really frame it broadly as a data challenge is an opportunity for individual and team-based problem solving. And we know that we've got some data that was newly released today in machine-readable format, and we've got problems. So we're asking you to really stand up and be engaged throughout this process. We're looking to leverage data to provide knowledge and insights. And just to clarify, data can take a lot of different forms, but at its core, it's a piece of information. And this information made digital and machine readable, as the California government has done, really allows us to bring new techniques and new approaches into our toolkit. So we'll be having a summit. There'll be more details about that soon. It'll be in the fall to highlight different projects and next steps. And we'll have awards that we'll be pointing out later this morning as well. So in terms of opportunities, not only are there opportunities for California, but for us, representing 13 states in the Western region, we have a lot of exciting commitments for you to present your work more broadly as part of a regional and national conversation. So to help set the stage, we've worked with the Department of Water Resources to capture our motivation for this challenge in a 3-minute video. So we're just going to play that. It's also embedded on the website. Here's the video.
Downloads.
And here's Angie, everyone.
Nuestra agua estaba muy contaminada y sigue con nitratos. Se secó el pozo y no, ya desde entonces he estado batallando que no hemos tenido agua. Y siempre estábamos enfermos, nuestros niños también.
About 10% of our income, monthly income, goes to buy water bottle.
You turn on the faucet, Matt, and the water starts coming out brown.
We don't want our family to get sick. Everybody, no matter where you live or where you're from, in the Central Valley or anywhere in the state, should be able to drink water from the tap without being afraid to get sick. What are we gonna leave to our families, to our grandchildren? I'm worried that they not only that they're gonna have contaminated water, but they're not gonna have water at all if we don't take care of our groundwater.
Every day, many Californians face an unacceptable reality. The water that comes out of their taps is unsafe to drink and may be unsafe for basic needs like bathing and washing dishes. The state estimates that around 200,000 people are exposed to unsafe tap water on any given day. Up to 1 million Californians are exposed to unsafe tap water at some point during the year. Some communities have been exposed to unsafe water for more than a decade. Droughts, floods, aging infrastructure, and other human and natural causes can disrupt the water supply and limit or eliminate access to safe drinking water for days, months, or even years. While the most publicized examples are in rural areas, delivering safe, sufficient, and affordable drinking water poses a challenge in almost every region of the state. The California Safe Drinking Water Data Challenge will demonstrate the power of open data, where teams will collaborate to design and build tools that help us better understand this problem, anticipate vulnerable areas where disruptions may occur next, and partner with communities to identify, develop, and deploy solutions. Recent legislation has empowered California to make its water and ecosystem data more accessible and functional. This challenge is also an opportunity to put these evolving data systems to the test and influence their ongoing development. The California Safe Drinking Water Data Challenge is a collaborative effort to bring together impacted community members, local government leaders, innovators, and data scientists, people of all backgrounds united around a common goal, ensuring that every Californian has access to safe, clean drinking water. Share your ideas, sharpen your skills, and design something that makes a real difference.
And that applause definitely goes to the Department of Water Resources for pulling together that capture. I'll hand it over to Debbie, who's going to elaborate a little bit more. Debbie, please come on down.
Thank you, Meredith. So I just can't emphasize enough how appreciative we are to the Department of Water Resources, the Community Water Center, and the Environmental Justice Coalition for Water for making that video possible. Please share it in every venue you have, because even beyond the Water Data Challenge, it's an opportunity to get the word out to folks that there are people in the state who can't drink their water. I also can't, well, actually I should probably say who I am. As a rule of thumb, that's usually a good idea. I'm Debbie Franco, and I am from the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. This is an issue that is close to my heart because I actually used to work for the Environmental Justice Coalition for Water. And I'm really glad to be here today, and I'm glad that you're all here today. But this event would not have been possible without an incredible group of sponsors. And you can see the logos up there, but they definitely deserve additional mention. We have the Bay Area Council. Oh, now I'm mixed up.
It's a growing family.
Yeah, sorry. The Bay Area Council, Imagine H2O, and Water Foundation, who were all involved actually in the AB 1755 legislation, who have continued their commitment to open data by joining this challenge. And they also, in a wonderful way, have interests in safe drinking water. So it's a good combination of interests. Big West Data Innovation Hub, the organization that Meredith is with, they were our lifesavers. We were all at the table looking at each other saying, how do you do a data challenge? And Meredith volunteered to come in and really is the glue that holds our team together, and who, was the missing piece we needed to make this happen. Oh yes. Can I ask all of our sponsors to stand up? Yes, applaud again. We're quickly just going to go around the room, and if we can start with you, Alessandra. I guess we will. Oh, I'm sorry.
We should have worn different color schemes. My name is Noshli Kaplan-Daly. I work for Imagine H2O. We are a 501c3 here in San Francisco. Our mission is to empower people to develop and deploy innovation to solve water challenges globally. So we do that mainly through an accelerator program, supporting startups from all over the world to scale and commercialize their technologies. We made a 2-year commitment to data, and we found that really it's a lifelong commitment to data. So that's why we're a part of this challenge. We also have put on the table a $1,500 cash prize to the team that builds a solution that best speaks to impact, scalability, and innovation. So hopefully that will incentivize.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. My name is Alessandra Nahara, and I'm a program officer with the Water Foundation. As Debbie mentioned, we were a leading proponent of AB 1755, which is the Open and Transparent Water Data Act. And we are also a leading funder in California, or a very involved funder in California, on safe and affordable drinking water efforts. We support a number of groups who are leading the charge on drinking water solutions in the state. So when we had the opportunity to engage with the state on this particular effort, we were really excited to have the opportunity to bring together 2 of our top priorities in our organization. So thanks so much for being here, and we look forward to partnering with you over the summer. And I'm happy to serve as a resource or a connection to groups working on these issues, as well as academic research that is ongoing in the state. So thank you.
Good morning. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm Adrian, Covert Vice President of Public Policy at the Bay Area Council. And the Bay Area Council is a regional economic and business advocacy organization and was the proud sponsor of the legislation that helped make this possible, along with our partners at the Water Foundation. That bill was AB 1755 by now Senator Bill Dodd. And the council's proud and inspired to see the outpouring of support for the pressing issue of clean drinking water. We obviously can't have a strong economy without healthy communities, and that begins with water. So thank you for the work, and thank you for showing up.
Thank you all. So if I can also, oh, I'm so sorry. One more.
Great. Let me add my thanks to all of you for being here. I'm David Culler at UC Berkeley. I'm wearing 2 hats. So the first one is Principal Investigator for the West Big Data Innovation Hub, and what Debbie said was NSS, National Science Foundation's vision come true, which is, we have these tremendous needs. Can we bring some of the resources to connect them to actually doing something? And then, the data to knowledge to action. In the other hat, I'm the new Dean of Data Sciences at Berkeley, and just to give you a sense of the dent that the University of California system can make, we've gone from 0 to 4,000 students in less than 3 years. So we can bring talent to bear on some of these questions, and our students today are so driven by mission, and so that's how we've gotten to where we are, is trusting them, and I think this is a great example of giving them a chance to run forward with that.
I like what you did there, David, bringing talent to bear, Cal Bears, go Bears.
No offense to anyone from any other campus. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to do is have all of our state agency data stewards who are in the room, please stand up. That includes you, David. So these are the folks who have helped to transform data into open data format, and we have some folks in the room who are not data nerds like me. So I'll just say a little teeny tiny bit about the enormity of this project. We have, what would you say, billions at least of data points in our state data systems. David's my truth, my truth thermometer. So we have all of these data sets that already exist, and that's awesome. but they're difficult to bring together into one space, to find them, to align them, and to analyze them. And so these are our folks at the state scale who are working very hard to transform them into a format and make them accessible through one place where you could discover, in theory someday, all the data the state has to offer and be able to pull it into your space or use our space to analyze it and not have to do a whole lot more aligning and a whole lot more transforming, because we will have already done it. So thank you all for the work you've done. Did I miss anyone? I'm good? Okay. Okay, so this day actually, though, is about all of you, and so I thought it would be helpful to find out a little bit about you. So I personally like it when people move around a little bit, so I'm going to ask you to stand. If you truly are opposed to standing up, you can just wave your hand. But if you are a person who works on safe drinking water every day, like if you're a county health officer or you're from an impacted community or from a water system, can you just stand up or wave your hand? Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so all of you data folks, and I apologize if nerd was offensive. All of you data folks, these are the experts on the topic, and so you should seek them out and talk to them. If you are from the academy and you have done research related to safe drinking water, can you stand up or wave your hand? So these are the folks who will know the pain you will feel as you start to try to use these data sets to teach us something new. And so these are also great resources, and you should talk to them. Any state agency folks who are here that did not stand up in the first round? We have, yeah, so GovOps, these guys have also been critical partners. I just have to say one little shout out to my female colleagues. Angie, no offense, Steve. Angie and Meredith and Noshli have been our core team moving this, and so the food, all the logistics and everything, they deserve the lion's share of the credit. So thank you. Thanks to the three of you, and thanks to you too, Steve. All right, and so now if you are a data scientist or someone else who is joining the challenge, please stand up. All right, if you're at home watching the live stream, we nod to you also. But thank you all for being here, and please ask us questions, tell us what you're thinking. This is your opportunity to really get your hand dirty, to dip your toes in the water, whatever analogy you like, and hopefully this will be a solid launch so that you all can go off and do amazing things. So at this point, I would like to offer you the opportunity to turn to your neighbor and introduce yourself. And if it's someone interesting, ask a few questions. We only have a minute or two because we're obviously running a little behind, but please.
Are you pretty much based on hard econ through math?
And now it looks like there's trying to copy the
I am That would be, you know, like desalination would be less expensive. Because that is so
All right, thank you all. If we can, you will have more opportunity throughout the day to speak with each other. If we can return the attention to the front of the room. Excellent, thank you. So you have just started, or continued, I should say. Hopefully most of you are on the Slack channel. Yeah. So this is a continuation of building the community here around this issue of safe drinking water and data. And we encourage you to continue to do that by sharing your data, insights, and ideas on the Slack channel and on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else you can think of. Meredith?
My mic's up? There. Okay, excellent. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to Stephanie, who is our graphic recorder right here. You probably met her on your way in. As well as Sai, who is our videographer, capturing some of these things. And everybody working on the Google Workspace. We're really hoping that through this collective group effort that we're capturing all of the ideas, the pointers to data sets that just, overnight got fixed up and ready to go for today's launch, and really asking ourselves, pointing to Debbie's question, who might not be in the room yet? Who are a few people that we could bring to work together over the summer on these critical questions so we can continue to grow the coalition of the willing leading up to our fall summit. Thanks. I think we probably should get towards the panel.
Yeah, so can we ask our panelists to come and sit in these fabulous Google chairs? And while you're coming up, I'll just say just a very few things about safe drinking water. So we actually in California have been working on safe drinking water for a very long time. Felicia's going to come right now. And we, when I first started working on safe drinking water, I randomly discovered a report, and it was 25 years old. And the State Water Board had written this report on nitrates in safe drinking water, and I thought, how sad is that over 25 years we haven't figured out how to fix this problem. And I would like to say that we've made huge strides. There are fewer people today that lack access to safe drinking water than when I started working on the issue, and that is amazing, and it has a lot to do with the important work that people all over the state are doing. But we still have this gap, and so we have these three fabulous panelists who Meredith is going to introduce. Who are going to help us understand a little bit more about safe drinking water and data.
Great, thanks Debbie. And everyone's full bio is on the Google space, and so you can read all about their illustrious careers, but I'll try to be brief. First we have Charu Varadarajan. That was my first time trying it, who is a geochemist and data scientist in the Earth and Environmental Sciences area at Lawrence Berkeley Labs. Charu is a senior fellow also at BIDS, the Berkeley Institute for Data Science, and her research focuses on the nexus of water, energy, and carbon for the purposes of sustainable water resource management. She's also the deputy lead for the Department of Energy's new Environmental Data Archive. And, among different things, she has a PhD from MIT, no big deal there. Thomas Harder, on the other side by Debbie, we're doing this in alphabetical order, I guess, yes. By first name? No, we're not doing it in any order, sorry. Thomas Harder is the Robert Hagan Endowed Chair for Water Resources Management and Policy at UC Davis. He has a joint appointment as professor and cooperative extension specialist in the Department of Land, Air, and Water Resources. He has a PhD in hydrology from University of Arizona. And I thought it was interesting that his research and extension program was specifically recognized for an effort to engage scientists, regulators, farm advisors, dairy industry representatives, and dairy farmers to better understand the effects of dairy operations on water quality. Thanks for being here, Thomas. And finally, in the center here, we have Felicia Marcus, who is the State Water Resources Control Board Chair. She's been appointed by Governor Jerry Brown, and the board manages the state's drinking water and water quality regulation, implementing the state's water rights laws. She has an amazing biography in government, nonprofits, and the private sector. Notably, she's been bringing unlikely allies together for environmental progress on a wide range of issues, particularly garnering lawsuits was what the city of Los Angeles was known for, and she's flipped that around to garnering national awards for environmental excellence. So with that, I'd like to just set the stage, since this is the first time all three of you are together here. The challenge questions that everybody has on their table, and for the folks online, it's posted there as well. The focus is on understanding our community's access, or lack of access in many cases, to safe drinking water. You each have contributed to this space in different roles, and we'd love to have some context on your background and what motivates you to work on this topic. Anybody can start. We want this to be organic and interactive.
I have it. I'll start.
You've got the mic, so go for it.
Microphone, then I'll hand it off. Is it on? There. Well, my background is varied, but started out as a public interest lawyer and activist, and pretty much even went to law school to get another organized tool in the toolkit to deal with environmental quality, particularly with a public health angle. It was Love Canal that sort of drove me into the environmental movement, because all of a sudden it became more of a public health issue that affected everybody across any geography and any sort of aspect you could think of, and I found that very galvanizing. And so it's been interesting. I've done an awful lot of stuff, but when I got to the State Water Board, one of the things that shocked me the most, that most people, I think, still don't know, and that gets to the heart of at least part of the challenge here, and don't realize, is how many Californians don't have access to clean, safe, and affordable drinking water. And there are a number of things we'll talk about, I'm sure, as we go through, but I was as shocked as anyone when I came into the job. I followed the human right to water legislation that the most amazing group of activists and collaborative imaginable that just set the stage for saying this is going to be the policy of the state of California to try and figure out how to get drinking water to folks, which is very different than your normal regulatory context. Your normal regulatory context is you regulate folks. So you could spank people above a certain size that you regulated or fine them, but you weren't going to get drinking water to people because they just don't have the managerial, technical, and financial capacity. The human right to water legislation, which is really, I think, will go down in history as even more important than we think it is now, was an attitudinal shift to say, figure out, guys, how to make this a high priority and do something about it. Then, Thomas had been doing this great work for the Water Board on nitrates in groundwater, in particular in California, and we had been tasked with doing a report on, this will make a long story short, we had been tasked with doing a report to the legislature on the extent to which Californians rely on, in whole or in part, on contaminated groundwater. Now, if you're in a big urban area, you can be over a Superfund site and it's fine, because you can afford to treat it, blend it, whatever. But if you're on a domestic well or in a small system, it's a whole nother ball game, and folks didn't even know. And so using Dr. Harper's report, we then did a parallel report. And I have to admit that the first time I realized how bad this issue was when I was reading the drafts of the report that we were about to issue. And so that's what drew me into it, was happening there, in addition to the cause, is just the amazing group of people across the state who have come together to try and figure out how to make something happen. And I tend to be motivated a lot by the people around me, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more. So I'm happy to. Is that enough for start?
Is it enough?
Yeah.
Good start. All right.
So my personal background is I'm a geochemist whose research has involved studying the human impacts on surface and groundwater. Yeah, it's awesome. As well as in the last few years, I've started using environmental data sets to understand ecosystem processes and function. So I'm very motivated to work on this topic because I feel like my background is in this sort of almost unique intersection of water quality as well as data science. And this really, this particular challenge really excites me because about 4 years ago, I was involved as part of a Berkeley lab team to work on studying the impacts of well stimulation, which in California is primarily hydraulic fracturing, on the water impacts of well stimulation. That was, and it was an independent study that was done by the state following the passage of Senate Bill 4. And as part of working on that study, one thing I came to realize was that the public cares really deeply about water quality, and they are not just respectful and acknowledge the results that come out of a data-driven scientific assessment, but they're really looking actively for, what are the, data about the water around them and how they can visualize that so that they can, lead their lives in a better way. So I think that this is, both. In a data perspective, this is very intellectually challenging for the data scientists who are here, but it's also just very meaningful to do this work because you really impact.
Microphone. Thank you, Sharon. I'm Thomas Harder, so I work at University of California in Davis. My background is I was trained as a hydrologist, and during my graduate studies I focused predominantly on groundwater. This is in the late 1980s, early 1990s. At a time when the interest in groundwater here in this country was very focused on figuring out what to do with the things that were portrayed in the movie A Civil Action. I don't know how many of you have seen that. That was about really people being exceedingly concerned about the drinking water and the quality of their drinking water, and trying to find out why they had a cancer cluster in their community, and trying to find out how to get to fixing the problem. And it's an amazing story, true story, depicted in the movie and in a wonderful book. When I started with the University of California, my first office was actually just outside of Fresno with a bunch of other colleagues that work on Covert Extension, which is our technology transfer arm, mostly focused on food security, agricultural production, and everything to do with agriculture and the environment. And my work was really focused on this nexus between groundwater and agriculture. And it was mostly research work, mostly engaging the agricultural audience in understanding some of the water quality issues that were caused by agriculture, but it wasn't really a regulatory framework, and there was not really a policy focus. And that has changed dramatically over the last 20 years. We've renewed efforts in our water quality regulations to look at agricultural sources for water quality degradation, and that's where the nitrate report came in. We've worked with the animal industry in California, that's mostly dairies, looking at antibiotics and other pharmaceuticals, looking at steroid hormones, looking at pathogens and what their potential impacts may or may not be on groundwater. And then we've had the drought and the passage of the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, abbreviation being SGMA, and referred to in water circles as SIGMA. And with SIGMA, we have closed a loophole that no longer allows people to tap into nature's reserve of groundwater at will, and instead puts a focus on local groundwater management and puts a focus on sustainability, making that resource available and using that resource so that our future generations will have the same access to that resource. And it's the agricultural regions that have depended on that groundwater as a source of irrigation water for food production that are going to be struggling with the compliance with SIGMA the most. And so we have both water quality and water supply becoming an issue, policy issue in these agricultural rural regions, where we also have the biggest challenges with respect to water quality. And I'm super excited about the research work that we do, and there is no more gratification than actually working on real world problems to do this with, and it's exciting to see this connection, which is also a new connection for me, but certainly born out of some of our own frustrations in juggling data and receiving data and not distributing data because of confidentiality issues, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
So in each of your opinions, what are the main challenges that we face in supplying safe drinking water to folks in California, and what role can data play?
Well, I mean, let me count the ways. There are a ton of challenges. And let me say, I should have said at the outset.
It's all right.
Maybe. All right. No, maybe it's me. Oh, it's the pillar? All right. But there's a metaphor in there somewhere. You've got to be able to use the pillar as a metaphor sometime through the course of the day. Money is obviously usually a big problem, and its form can be a problem, but the voters have been very generous in bond funding to help give us capital dollars to help disadvantaged communities. So that piece, I'm not saying it's fine, I'm just saying that's great. Getting operation and maintenance money so that people can even afford to run it as the challenge of our time, and a heroic band of folks who have been trying to do that, and it's been challenging through this legislature. So money can tend to be a problem, but data is important in a number of ways, really important. And again, I'm more the political hack on the panel, or the organizer who ended up in government. Whoever knew you'd win? I mean, you got to be willing to win and then run the thing you sue. I'm just saying, it's hard, but it's rewarding. Over time, this is my 5th job where I've been tapped to run something I used to criticize. So you'd think I'd stop criticizing entities at this point, but in any event, it's a great place, and really able to do something. But it from a political standpoint, data and telling the story has power that people can tend to underestimate. This is the qualitative power of data, and it goes back, the idea of using government sunshine or using transparency as a tool. It's what moves people. People tend to think it's the wonks that make decisions, or it's just the political elite who are sitting in rooms. Public opinion really matters, and it's whether you go to the Margaret Mead thing about don't ever doubt that a small group of people can make a difference in the world. It's the only thing that ever has. Misquoting it, but you get the point. It has incredible power, but data that's just a bunch of numbers on an Excel spreadsheet only makes certain people's hearts sing. Being able, and some of you are in this room, I know, and you think it tells a whole story by itself, but there are those of us who are in the narrative kids who can't hear that story. And so the incredible things that folks like Rafa Mestu does for us and others, and whether it's a bubble chart or whatever, something that visualizes a problem from data sets has more power than you could ever know in and of itself, but in the hands of activists or in the hands of journalists. So that's one area where transparency makes a difference, and one area where this becomes very important to us, because again, we can come up with ideas and the data sets we see, you all, by everybody putting stuff out there, by the great work that Stuart and others in GovOps are doing in terms of trying to really get open data out there so that it's not just folks in government trying to figure it out, it's all the brilliance of the universe applied, I think is incredibly important. Part for the politics, and little p politics, the visualization that drives change, but also to the work we do. I'll give you an example. I mean, we know a lot of stuff. We put out a lot of stuff, particularly on the 300 and some communities.